isolation continues, for some of us who choose to stay vigilant, it could be an excellent opportunity to look back on your old work. So we're trying something a little different today. I'm going to take a trip back in time, fired by srad, Sierra, I believe. She had a video that I will link at the end of this, or I will link her account at the end of this, and her video will be linked in the description. She was looking back at her first photos and everything, and I've sort of done that. What I'm going to do is I'm going back to the beginning of Flickr. I joined Flickr in 2006. It was amazing back then. I really enjoyed it. You see that I've kind of started posting on there again. And I'm trying to see if it's, worthwhile. Let's go all the way back. This is really the first stuff I had on Flickr. Really. This is some concert photography I did. Actually, I think this is still a nice picture. You'll notice the watermark. And even then I was not super into invasive watermarks. Lovely concert lighting, but also how the Canon 20D, which is what I was using at the time, handled this type of lighting. I had to dial this way down with white balance, I believe. This was published multiple times in JPEG magazine, if you remember that. Chantel from Isley. I wasn't shooting RAW back then. All these highlights are completely blown out, but you'll see that I managed to maintain most of them. I'm still pretty happy with that edit. This was a friend's Pentax camera, and this was the first time I had shot film in a few years at this point, and I enjoyed it. It probably planted a seed. This was from my early ventures into portraiture, from 2006 probably. Yeah, it's more of a documentary shot than an actual portrait. This was pretty much one of my earliest actual portraits, which is pretty cool. It's my friend Angela in a field in Pennsylvania. This was something that I really liked at the time that now I'm like, I wouldn't post this anymore. I like the light. I see what I was doing. And I actually still mostly like this. This is another one from that shoot. We used it quite a bit, but in hindsight, I'm not as into it. Some more old stuff. This is a New Year's Eve show in Dallas at Trees. I feel better about my concert photography because I always regretted in my concert days that I didn't document what was off stage. And I do still regret that. But in reality, I captured a lot of moments long gone that even though I didn't capture a lot off stage, you'll notice I did capture moments on stage. On my first business card, Jamie Maldonado Design and Photography. That's how insecure I was about photography, my photography skills, is I was freshly out of the newspaper industry. This was I don't know, Selective Focus. This is a band called the Diddy Bops. Bonus information is they were opening for Tegan and Sarah at the show the day before my 25th birthday. Oh my God. Before my 25th birthday. And I left after they played and skipped Tegan and Sarah entirely. I hadn't heard them much at the time. This is before the con. So I'm back. This is from my first Isley concert. Still mostly like it. Pushing the heck out of the Nikon D1, by the way. This one less so. You'll notice an early appearance of my fake film borders. So here's the thing. This was 2006. Digital was still pretty new. I was trying to give something that sense of framing and completion and tangibility with that. And reading my notes, I said it was trying to cope with cropping. I don't remember what the uncropped photo looks like anymore. I don't know if I would have cropped this. Talked to Arnold Newman about cropping, and his comment was something along the lines of, he's not going to let a camera tell him what shape to make his photo. This was an accident. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. Oh, so that's what it looked like uncropped. Stuff like this is where I discovered how you can take pictures. If you at a small show, if you have just a couple of cans of light, you get the right angle, you can actually make it look like a way bigger venue than it actually is. No, I don't mind that either. I'm trying to make it look as cool as I can, which is, you could say that it's still what I'm doing. Oh, hey, Ivory Line and Tyler. I like a lot of these, and I was trying to capture the energy. They were very energetic live. It was fun. This was still in a 20D. I would go to these shows and I would shoot until midnight and sometimes help clean up the venue until like 3 a.m. And then I would go home from Tyler, an hour away, and edit these photos and just spend the next day. This is before Lightroom. Like, batch editing was not what it is now. And I would just pull these up one by one in Photoshop and edit them for hours in marathon sessions, and then post them online while people were still thinking about the show and things were still fresh. And it was fun, but also incredibly tiring. Musician photos. Don't know how I feel about all of these, but I also don't hate them. Super blown out, but it actually works for it. I still feel better than I expected to about this, even though some of these I think are pretty decent overall. And then some are not. And this is more early portraiture. I don't know. I'm not super into it, but also don't hate it again. Just looking back with hindsight, if you had asked me this 5 years ago, I would have cringed at all of these. But looking back, I can kind of see where it was all leading. And I can appreciate it for what it is. Oh my God. Oh, this is Kevin Barnes of Montreal. It's very nice, by the way. Early, I think, raw photo experiments. And actually helped kind of push me in a lot of ways artistically. This is around the time I started really getting dragged down by the limitations of the 20D with the noise and everything, which is insane because I was at 3200 ISO. The noise was so bad back then, and to think of what cameras are doing now is just remarkable. But yeah, she had pushed me, and these aren't all like amazing photos, but what I learned in the experimentation on these was really important. So you do have to take not great photos sometimes, or embarrassing photos, to be any good. A lot of times you can't just start off good. You have to kind of take and share the bad ones and understand that at some point years later you're going to cringe at all the things you did wrong, but also you're going to see the root of all the things that go well. A lot of people roast themselves, but I'm just kind of mostly happy with what I did. And I think I experimented and tried a lot more than I thought I did, even though I think I could have done better or whatever. The best part about Flickr was really the community, and the community is actually still there in places. But without the constant activity, it is difficult to get on a roll with Flickr. I did a photo a day thing in 2007 that I did a bunch of pointless photos for. As hit and miss as photo a day projects are, this was actually really useful. Oh, you see the foxhole vignetting finally makes its appearance. Sometimes you have to just dive headfirst into an idea and then dial it back and just not regret that. So I didn't complete the photo a day, but it was cool because it kind of got me into the mindset that I could take pictures all the time, and that it didn't necessarily matter if they were the best photo or whatever. It was just the creative exercise. Just more concert stuff, more heavy editing, but you've got to do heavy editing sometimes to understand what works and what doesn't. And you've got to forgive every beginner who overdoes it because they want to see the limitations of what the medium can offer. Make an embarrassing foxhole vignette and jack the color up to 11. And this is getting difficult to use, and I have a lot to edit down, and it's probably stopped recording again. Did you see something that you like in here? Did this kind of make you think differently about your work, your old work? I think it's really important to go through your old work, and hopefully Flickr won't die, because there's still nothing that has come along to truly replace what Flickr brought. Subscribe to my channel. Turn on the notifications. They're super helpful for you and for me. To comment and share and let me know what you think. I like to thank my patrons who allow me to do whatever I'm doing now. That will be like foxhole vignetting. Have you looked through your old work yet? Have you been shooting long enough to look through your old work? Are you embarrassed by your old work? And maybe you should look back at it with fresh eyes and see it for what it is and building you to what you are now. If you're not there yet, you will be. So just keep pressing ahead, making work. And I will see you next week with something that's not looking at my old Flickr or computer. Thanks. Bye.